regular seasons kick off, you don't always get top matchups. You often see teams ease into things to prep for stiffer competition a little bit later on, but that's not the case tonight. Tonight, your Mahtomedi Zephyrs welcome the Columbia Heights Highlanders in a Class 3A Section 4 showdown. Both of these teams come into the season ranked in the top 10 as Mahtomedi are the number 4 ranking in Class 3A, and Columbia Heights comes in as number 7. Thank you for joining us tonight, everybody. My name is David Schuyler, and I am the sports producer here at Suburban Community Channels as we get ready to bring you our first boys basketball matchup of the 2022-2023 winter season. As starting introductions are being introduced right now for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs. And we show you our player to watch for the Zephyrs, senior guard Owen Carlson, who led all Mahtomedi scoring last season with 23 points per game and 461 points total on the year for the senior guard. For the Zephyrs coming back, they are 9 seniors deep on their roster as they have players coming back who had starting time and points regularly last season for them. So they are expected to be very deep and expected to have a lot of scoring this season. On the other side of things, for the Columbia Heights Highlanders, last season they were undefeated for the entirety of the regular season heading into section play. And that continued all the way until they reached the section final, where they eventually matched up with Totino Grace, who was the number 2 seed and also the number 2 ranked team in the state at the time of that meeting. And ultimately it was Totino Grace who defeated Columbia Heights by a score of 48-44 in that section final, earning themselves a trip to state. So for Columbia Heights, though, they're going to have to make up quite a bit as they had a ton of scoring that graduated last year, as Muja Burton was averaging 23 points per game for the Highlanders, and Terrence Brown was right next to him with 22.8 points per game. Those two were kind of the 1-2 punch for the Highlanders last season, and that's a lot of scoring that's going to have to be made up. And they're going to be looking to our player to watch for the Highlanders, who was Jency Davis. He had the most amount of points returning for the Highlanders this season with just under 10 points per game. For the opening tip-off for Mahtomedi, we have Owen Carlson going up against the 6'6" center. Other starters for Mahtomedi: number 23, AJ McCleary at guard, and 24, Javon Harvey at forward, and 25, Will Underwood makes the start at guard after missing the vast majority of last season with injury. Carlson wins the tip-off, and we are underway. Zephyrs working around the perimeter now as Harvey dishes it inside to Underwood. Underwood goes up, reverse hand, and gets the easy layup. In for Mahtomedi. Columbia tried to work it inside there, but they were rejected. Harvey now on the quick steal. Ooh, that was beautifully inbound. for the lay, will have a chance to point. Underwood free goes. 8 for the all come from Underwood. Right corner. Wood under net goes left. Game is down, so they call a timeout. Head coach for they coming out of the gate. 10-0 here. They are a lot of youth to turn things around. Eight players listed on their varsity roster that will look to mix into this. But as Jensen Davis turns for the Highlanders and looks to lead them this season, he's only a junior. And there's only 2 seniors listed on the roster for Columbia Heights. One of which is starting, the other is not. I kind of wonder if there's some kind of injury or something though, because the other senior listed for Columbia Heights, as Carlson will take the pass on the inside and he goes up for the layup. To finish my point off there, I wonder if there's an injury because the other senior listed for Columbia Heights is listed as 6'7", and I certainly don't see anybody on their bench who looks like he's 6'7", as it's Jensen Davis who drives in the lane and puts up the right-handed layup for Columbia Heights to get them on the board. Working back the other way, now diving is Laval Hicks, as Hicks tried to keep the ball in, but couldn't quite get the handle on it, so it'll be Mahtomedi's ball. McCleary will look to inbound for the Zephyrs, and he'll get it into Carlson. Carlson works it around the top, drives in the lane, and puts in the layup right-handed off the glass. 14 points for the Zephyrs, and all of them have come from 2 players, as Carlson's got 6 and Underwood's got 8 early on into this contest. Foul called there on McCleary. That'll be his first foul, as Columbia Heights will get possession on the baseline. Underwood has taken a, just kidding, apologies. Now we get to Javon Harvey going off as we get a substitution from Mahtomedi, is checking in as number 20, Tom Hawley for the Zephyrs. Inbound gets worked around to the outside over there. Up top now, that's McClendon. McClendon will take the 3-point shot. It's short, but the rebound is quickly scooped up by Davis. The Highlanders regroup, work it around. Davis gets it back to McClendon. McClendon for a second 3-point attempt, no good. Rebound there by Hicks. Hicks puts it back up with the left hand, and he gets 2 more points. Underwood now working against McClendon. He dishes it out around to McCleary. McCleary's jumper was no good. Rebound Highlanders. Driving the lane now is McClendon, and he couldn't get it to go. Rebounded by Underwood, who dishes to Carlson. Carlson will pull up from 3-point range, and it clangs out. Fake pass there by McCleary as he goes in and is fouled as he attempts to have the layup. So A.J. McCleary, the senior guard, will head to the free throw line for Mahtomedi. As he will attempt to pick up his first points of the game. First one rims out. the second one also rims out. So Mahtomedi now 1 for 3 on free throw attempts early into this one. As Columbia Heights quickly storms back down the floor, goes up, rejection! Rolford went up to try and get the layup, but he was defended there by Cole Armitage, and Armitage goes up and says, "No sir, not today." We get a stoppage now as Columbia Heights will have a substitution. Checking in for them is number 13, Jaden Udine. The Highlanders working around now. 3-point attempt from Davis is good. Jency Davis picks up his 5th points of the game on that 3-pointer. Quickly working back down the floor there was Carlson. He tried to drive the baseline, but lost the handle on it. And so the ball will come back the other way for Columbia Heights. Jency Davis drives the lane, goes up and gets the and one for the Highlanders. So Davis is taking command of things a little bit as Columbia Heights now on a 7-point run with the attempt to make it an 8-point run as Davis heads to the free throw line for a 3-point opportunity. First trip to the line today for the Highlanders. And the left-handed Davis makes it. Columbia Heights now working it around the perimeter, tries to put up the 3, it's no good. Rebounded there by Owen Carlson, and he'll take it back up the floor for Mahtomedi. That was kind of an awkward looking layup attempt on the inside there from Armitage. But Mahtomedi claimed the rebound there, no foul, back the other way on a 2-on-1 for Columbia Heights, and that's rejected by Carlson. All the way back down the floor, and getting it there is James Ecker for the Zephyrs, and he lays it in. Columbia Heights now working it around the outside a little bit. Davis gets it over to McClendon. McClendon thought about driving the lane, couldn't quite find an opening. Gets it back to Udine there. Rolford gets it back to McClendon, thought about the 3, no, drives the lane, puts up the layup, and it's good. McClendon with 2 points. Those are his first 2 of the night. And now Columbia Heights find themselves on a 10-2 run. It's a 10-2 run for the Highlanders, as it was 14-2 at one point. And now Mahtomedi hangs on to a slim 16-12 lead. Apologies there, folks, for the delay, as we had a couple of technical difficulties that needed dealing with, but Underwood, with the free throw for Mahtomedi, makes it. They find themselves with a 17-15 lead. And Mahtomedi retains possession. So I have to assume that there's a technical call there since he was at the free throw line. But nonetheless, Mahtomedi retains possession as Carlson now gets it inside to Underwood, and Underwood goes up, attempted the slam, but couldn't quite get it. Rebounded there. Initially, it was Tommy Metzel who had it, but lost it back to Columbia Heights. Davis now with possession at the top of the key. Looks like he wants to work on the inside. Is double teamed. And great defense there from Mahtomedi. Carlson back the other way. Tries to get it inside. And it looks like the Highlanders stepped out of bounds as the Val Hicks touched the baseline. So it'll be the Zephyrs who get possession here. Substitution for the Highlanders as Bunamork heads out. And McCleary will inbound for Mahtomedi. Underwood and Carlson stay in for the Zephyrs. McCleary is back in now as Underwood attempted to drive the lane and was fouled. That will be a foul on Mioran Rolford for the Highlanders. That's his second foul already. McClendon has one as Underwood heads to the line, and his first free throw is good. Underwood up to 10 points now for the Zephyrs. Second one coming here. Another substitution now as Carlson will get a breather. And the second one is no good for Mahtomedi. But rebounded there. There's a scramble for the ball in the corner. The Highlanders came away with it. A foul is called there. Didn't quite catch who the foul was on, and the scoreboard hasn't been updated yet. But nonetheless, it's Columbia Heights who will retain possession. Mahtomedi doing full court press defense here as Jency Davis attempts to work it down the floor. He is bodied hard there by Javon Harvey, but nothing is called. Working in now for the Highlanders was the Val Hicks, but he couldn't get the left-handed layup to go. Underwood pulls up from three, no good. Harvey with the rebound. Underwood back up at the top. Dishes it over to Andrew Brian, and Brian's three-pointer didn't go. Ball deflects out of bounds there, off of Randy McClendon, and Mahtomedi will keep possession. Thus far for the Zephyrs, Carlson with 6 points, Underwood with 10 points, and Ecker with 2. All the scoring coming from three guys. And at the other end of the floor, three Highlanders with points. As a foul is called on the inside, and Columbia Heights does not like it. But nonetheless, Javon Harvey will head to the line for Mahtomedi. 6 team fouls now for Columbia Heights early on into this one, as the first free throw attempt rims out. And we get a substitution as Jency Davis checks back in. Underwood also substituted out for Mahtomedi, and taking his place is number 21, Tommy Metzel. The Highlanders now trying to sling it around with some aggression, and driving the lane and putting up the layup is Randy McClendon. 2-point game here, almost 8 minutes into the first half. And a charge is called on Mahtomedi. A.J. McCleary drove the lane and tried to go up for the layup, thought better of it and dished it out. But I believe it was McClendon who stood there and took the charge, so the ball will instead go to Columbia Heights. Jency Davis will lead it up the floor for Columbia Heights. He tried to get it out to McClendon, but really quick on the defense there was Underwood as he's back in the game. So we have Armitage, Carlson, Underwood, Harvey, and Metzel on the floor for Mahtomedi. As we are all the way back to a tie game now. So Mahtomedi started this game with a 12-2 at one point, and since then, Columbia Heights has gone on a 17-5 run, and now we find ourselves with the tie game as Columbia Heights gets their first lead of the game as Mark goes up for the easy layup. Back down on the other side, the turnaround jumper was no good. Rebound on the inside there by Metzel, and he goes up and is fouled on the play. So he will head to the line. Metzel's first free throw will go. That's Metzel's first point in the game. On the floor for Mahtomedi, we have Harvey, Carlson, Metzel, Underwood, and Armitage. All of which are seniors, I might add. As Metzel will try to make it 2 for 2, and he does. So back to a tie game. Mahtomedi now is 4 for 9 from the stripe. Is driving back down, rejection there. Metzel with the block, Carlson gets it down. Armitage goes up and gets the jam. Mahtomedi with the authority to race out to the lead. Fast break action back and forth here at Mahtomedi. Davis now with the 3, and he gets it to go with the response for Columbia Heights. Davis now up to 13 points for the Highlanders. Carlson looking to respond, no good. Armitage with the rebound. There was a foul called on the inside before his attempt went, so that will not count. McCleary checks back in for Mahtomedi. He will take the spot of Tommy Metzel. As head coach Keith Newman shouts instructions to the Zephyrs from the sidelines. And Jency Davis checks it in and takes it down the floor for Columbia Heights. Turnover there as Mahtomedi attempts to get possession. Carlson can't quite get it, but he grabs it. Harvey now drives the lane. There's a mad scramble for the ball. It gets kicked out there to McCleary. He put up a three-point attempt, but missed it. And the ball will go out of bounds, and Columbia Heights will take over. Columbia Heights clinging to a narrow one-point lead. Thought it could possibly be one-sided early on as Mahtomedi came out hard. But Columbia Heights has responded. They're moving the ball a lot more efficiently now. And we've got ourselves a tight game about halfway through the first half. Udine now will put up the 3, and Udine gets it to go. Jaden Udine with his first 3 points of the game for Columbia Heights. Mahtomedi looks to respond as Armitage will swing it around the top. McCleary gets it down low to Carlson. Carlson from 3, no good. He's been a little cold as of late from 3-point range. Underwood tried to work it inside, but that was no good. And racing in and putting up the left-handed layup is Davis. Davis now with 15 for Columbia Heights. Suddenly a big swing for the Highlanders as they have a 6-point lead and look to add to it. Davis now drives the lane, puts up the jumper, no good. Rebound Armitage. Armitage swings it out to AJ McCleary. And head coach Keith Newman will call a timeout for Mahtomedi to slow things down. So as we get a moment to catch our breath, the Mahtomedi student section has been asked to shift over, and they all just moved in the masses down the stands, and instead will be located right next to me to the left. Hopefully that'll help our viewpoint a little bit better for our main game camera in the middle. So this is the first game of the season for both of these teams, as Mahtomedi comes in ranked number 4 in the Class 3A preseason rankings, coming off an 18-8 record last season. Columbia Heights comes in ranked number 7, as they were 23-1 last year in the 2021-2022 campaign. Both of these teams come out of Section 4, and in the playoffs last year, Mahtomedi had the 3 seed as they squared off against Fridley in the first round. And Columbia Heights was the 1 seed, as they were also the number 1 team in state going into sections. They had Hill Murray, the 8 seed. Mahtomedi beat Fridley and matched up with Totino Grace, and it was Totino Grace who won and moved on to the championship, where they faced Columbia Heights after Columbia Heights had beaten Minneapolis Patrick Henry. And that section final matchup between the 1 and 2 seeds was also the 1 and 2 teams in the entire state, and Totino Grace had the victory there. So this is a big matchup to start the season for both of these teams, as a victory will really put them, it'll staple their position in the top 10 rankings, although I imagine both would still stay in, as a 3-point attempt here from Underwood is no good. Rebounded there by McClendon, and McClendon will take it back the other way. Ball stolen away there by Underwood. Underwood drives, gets it up, and that was blocked by Mohamed Nur for the Highlanders. Carlson now works it all the way back around to Armitage. McCleary. Carlson with the wide open 3. He can't get it to go. Carlson just not finding the 3-pointers right now. That one doesn't go for Mahtomedi, but they get yet another offensive board. Carlson gets it up to McCleary, and a play gets relayed in by Keith Newman to the Zephyrs, so they slow things down a bit. Underwood with the look. He can't get it to go. The 3-pointer's not falling for Mahtomedi right now, but they get yet another offensive rebound. Going up there was no good. But Carlson gets the 4th offensive board of the possession, goes up and gets the and one. So Carlson heads to the line to try and make it a 3-point play, as he gets his 8th point of the contest. 8 fouls now for Columbia Heights, as Mahtomedi will be in the bonus, I believe, for the rest of the half. And Carlson does indeed make it a 3-point play. 50% from the line now are the Zephyrs, as they're 5 for 10. Air ball there on the attempt from Zahir Muhammad Nur. But the ball was knocked out by Mahtomedi, so the Highlanders will retain possession. Correction, there was actually a foul on the drive of Muhammad Nur, so he will head to the line for 2. First one clangs out. This is only the 2nd trip to the line for Columbia Heights thus far in the first half. And the second one falls for Mohammed Nur. Underwood now takes the ball up the court, gets it out to Carlson, and the Zephyrs continue to work it around back to Underwood, and he can't get the three to go. I don't have the exact numbers for the Zephyrs on three-point attempts, but they have certainly gotten cold as of late, as it's just simply not working for them whatsoever. They had a couple early, but since then have just gone quiet. McClendon now works it back down the floor, goes up and can't get the layup to go. Underwood will attempt to go in. He dishes it back out to Carlson. Carlson can't get the slam to go. Boy, you just don't see that too often. That's the second time now that Mahtomedi has gone up for a slam dunk attempt, and they haven't gotten it to go. And since Carlson hung on to the rim there and grabbed the ball afterwards, the play was blown dead. But I guess he was fouled on the play as Carlson heads to the line. I guess my wife has just tuned into the broadcast. Hi, Sarah, which by de facto also means that my son is tuned in, but he's less than 2 months old, so he has no idea what's going on. But hi, Carter. Thank you for watching. And thank you for Sarah for watching. As Mahtomedi gets the turnover now, they go up for the and one. Carlson gets the layup, and we'll have another free throw coming. I guess I really have to be on my best behavior now that my wife is watching. But nonetheless, I don't know why anybody wouldn't possibly be watching, as we have an intense back and forth top 10 matchup between the Mahtomedi Zephyrs and Columbia Heights Highlanders. This one has been back and forth for a while now. Mahtomedi started off with a huge lead as it was 12-2 at one point. And then Columbia Heights came back as Carlson can't get the three-point play to go. Columbia Heights came back and had a 19-14 lead. Mahtomedi chipped away, and now we find ourselves with a tie game at 30-30 with about 4 minutes remaining here in the first half. Underwood will start the play off for Mahtomedi here as they'll try to work it around. Armitage thought about the three-pointer, instead decides to drive the lane, goes in and gets the foul and one. Count that one. I believe that's the fourth three-point play that we have had, or rather the fourth three-point process, I guess you could say, that we've had, because not all of the three-point attempts have worked out for Mahtomedi, but nonetheless driving the lane has worked out for them lately, as Armitage makes it a three-point play and now has 5 points on the night for Mahtomedi. Mahtomedi keeping up the full court press here as a foul is called on Armitage. I believe that is Armitage's first foul. But that is 8 fouls for the Zephyrs. So Columbia Heights is in the bonus and will have free throws. 1 and 1 here for McClendon. He gets the first to go, so he will have a second. Silky smooth there from McClendon. Columbia Heights now 4 of 5 from the stripe. Mahtomedi clings to a 1-point lead coming down the stretch here in the first half. But this is basketball, so 3 minutes and 40 seconds is certainly a long time. As the ball was knocked away from Carlson there, it landed in the hands of Tom Hawley for Mahtomedi, and he gets the floater to go. Hawley picks up his first 2 points of the night. Driving the lane now is Davis. He couldn't get it to go, but it's rebounded there by the Highlanders. McClendon now slows things down for Columbia Heights as it's quickly worked back around. Rolford now swings it back outside. Three-pointer put up there by by Udine didn't go. Underwood now with a chance to push this to a 2-possession lead. Underwood calls the play, swings it around to Armitage, gets it to Carlson. He'll take the three, and he finally gets one to go. Things had not been working for Carlson there, but they just stuck with him shooting three-pointers, thinking that eventually they would get it to go, and they were rewarded as he gets a three-pointer and pushes the Mahtomedi lead up to 6. 11 points now on the night for Carlson. But back the other way on the response is Rolford for Columbia Heights, and that is immediately answered right away. That was Underwood. As Carlson gets the steal, gets it up to Underwood, and Underwood goes up and lays it in for another 2 easy points for the Zephyrs. Underwood now up to 15 points for Mahtomedi. And the back and forth action continues as McClendon picked up another bucket for Columbia Heights. Finally get a stoppage here as Mahtomedi, after all that back and forth action, baskets being entered by baskets, find themselves with a 7-point lead. McClendon now swings it around to Hicks. Rolford gets it to McClendon. McClendon drives the lane, kicks it out. Hicks drives the lane, goes up, and it's blocked there. That was Metzel who went up and blocked it, but it gets deflected out of bounds. So the Highlanders retain possession. Davis now will look to inbound. He kicks it all the way out to McClendon. McClendon will take the long three. It's no good. Rebounded there by Metzel. Underwood will take it up the floor for Mahtomedi. He kicks it outside to Max Holly, and Holly gets it to go. Carlson with the jam! Turnover, fast break for Mahtomedi, and Carlson throws it down to 12-point lead for the Zephyrs. The Highlanders look to respond with a three, but that's no good. Rebounded there by Underwood. The Zephyrs have been absolutely dominating here down the stretch. Carlson looks to set up a final shot. Driving the lane and kicking it out was Armitage. But he couldn't quite get it to go as we have 0.6 seconds left on the clock here. After that huge slam dunk by Owen Carlson, he now sits at 18 points for the Zephyrs. I'm not quite sure what Mahtomedi will do here with only 0.6 seconds. They have to hope for a quick in and shot, and they can't get it to go. Underwood's attempt falls just short. But nonetheless, after a crazy first half with a bunch of back and forth action, we have Mahtomedi hanging on to a 48-36 lead over the Columbia Heights Highlanders. We'll take a quick break, but after we come back, we'll take a look at some of the stats, the highlights from the first half, and recap everything for you and get you ready for the second half action here at Mahtomedi High School. This is Mahtomedi boys basketball here on SCC Sports.
Ever hear the one about the frog? Put a frog in a pot of boiling water and it'll jump right out.
Here's my resume.
But put a frog in a pot of cool water and slowly heat it up, and that frog will boil it's a lie. But as a metaphor for us and all that we go through as veterans,
real-world experience.
it's a story that rings true. We make excuses for how we feel. We push everything down. We tell ourselves the lie that it's easier to stay in that boiling water, to disconnect. And some days, maybe, it is. But you've never been interested in easy. Reaching out is hard. Do it anyway. You're not alone. You've got this. You are not a frog.
Find resources at va.gov/reach.
Email from school about the incident today.
Scary.
Tell me about it. Did you have any idea that was going on?
None. I mean, you saw Derek at the game last night, too. Did you have a clue?
No, but you know, teachers like me, parents, we don't always know as much as you guys do. Kids hear first about what's going on with other kids.
Half the time, it's rumors.
It can be hard to tell sometimes, but if you're ever concerned about a friend who's having trouble with alcohol, prescription drugs, bullying, violence, anything, you need to tell an adult. Mom or me, a teacher, coach, school counselor, someone you know and trust.
Dad, no kid is gonna tell an adult about that kind of stuff.
I get it, but if we don't know, we can't help. Speaking up about a problem, that's what helping a friend is all about.
How was school?
I'm so sick of 17. I'm over this teenage dream. If someone tells me one more time, enjoy your youth, I'm gonna cry. These are the golden years, but I wish I could disappear. I'm just a mess, now I'm just a mess, and you're just a person that changed my life. Put that in my mind, safe to take a step out. Yes, I'm in now, let your edge out.
Good morning. How are you feeling?
I feel okay.
Music can help you express how you're feeling. When you can't find the language, find the lyrics.
Welcome back to Mahtomedi High School, here in the middle of the at the end of the first half, excuse me, in between halves, here at halftime, halfway through halftime, as the Mahtomedi Zephyrs lead the Columbia Heights Highlanders by a 48-36 margin. We talked about it a little bit, but taking a look at how things shook out last year at the end of the end of sections, Columbia Heights and Mahtomedi both in Section 4-3A, and the Highlanders were the #1 team in the state going into sections. Totino Grace was the #2 team in the state, and Mahtomedi, I believe, was 8 or 9. All three teams landing in the same section. So Columbia Heights made it to the section final after blowing out Hill Murray and Minneapolis Patrick Henry. And Mahtomedi squared up against Totino Grace semifinals, where Totino ending the Zephyr season there. And then in the section final between the #1, #2 teams, it was Totino Grace who squeaked out the 4. Won the season, 16 in St. Thomas Academy, 16-12, and the Cadets also earned themselves a spot in the top 20 preseason rankings for this year. So they will look to have a really good year. Two Rivers also doing well, and then rounding out the bottom there, Hastings, North St. Paul, and Hill Murray. Not quite sure what happened to North St. Paul. They had a couple of transfers, I know, but they'll look to rebound after having a bit of a disappointing year last year with a 4-23 mark. On the other side, in the Tri-Metro Conference, Columbia Heights, as mentioned, finished unblemished in their conference. De La Salle finished in second place, and I believe it was De La Salle who made it all the way to the state finals against Totino Grace. I might be wrong. It was either the finals or the semifinals, but nonetheless finished with a 10-1 mark in their conference. Their one loss coming to Columbia Heights. Ridgefield at third place, and then Fridley, another Section 4 team that played Mahtomedi, finished fourth. Rounding out the bottom three there, Holy Angels, St. Anthony, and the Brooklyn Center Centaurs. So that's the Tri-Metro Conference for the Columbia Heights Highlanders, as they will look to have another repeat season this year and look for back-to-back Tri-Metro Conference championships. Mahtomedi will need to top South St. Paul if they hope to claim the Metro East Conference, but they're certainly poised to do so as they have a lot of senior returners on the team this year. We'll take another break, but when we come back, we'll be ready for the second half as Mahtomedi clings to a 48-36 lead. You're watching Mahtomedi Zephyrs basketball on SCC Sports.
Mom was always organized, but she started forgetting to pay her bills on time.
And she'd buy the same gifts over and over.
Telling the girls about my Alzheimer's diagnosis was really hard.
At first we had our cries, but then we were like, okay, let's make a plan.
Early detection gave us time to adapt together.
It's so important for you to think about what you can do and making the most of what you have.
If you or your family are noticing changes, it could be Alzheimer's. Talk about seeing a doctor together.
Hi, I'm E.J. Williams. Each year, millions of animals are abandoned, and more than 1 million are euthanized before they can be rescued. Organizations like American Humane are working to harness the healing power of the human-animal bond, as animals can be trained as life-saving service and therapy dogs to help veterans, the elderly, and children with special needs to overcome the obstacles of everyday life. To find out how you can help give animals and the people they help a new leash on life, please visit AmericanHumane.org.
Dear moms and dads, we know it's not always been easy, and it's been a lot of hard work. What you have achieved here today is going to help us and our futures. It is why we are coming up on stage to collect your diplomas. Everything I do it for you. Mom, love you always. No, it's true. Everything I do it for you.
When you graduate, they graduate. Visit finishyourdiploma.org to find free and supportive adult education centers near you.
Where did the time go? Somehow I lost all those years. Where did the time go? I don't know how I got here. Or how did I get here?
You've done the hard part. You quit smoking. Now do the easy part and get scanned for lung cancer. If you smoked, you may still be at risk, but early detection could save your life. Talk to your doctor and learn more at savedbythescan.org.
are ready for the second half of boys basketball action between the Mahtomedi Zephyrs and Columbia Heights Highlanders. Starting off the second half, Mahtomedi has the 48-36 lead as they are led in scoring by number 25, Will Underwood, who has 15 points, and on the other side, it's Jency Davis, who has 15 for the Highlanders. Mahtomedi starting off here on the floor. They have Underwood, Carlson, Harvey, McCleary, and Armitage. An all-senior lineup up front for the Mahtomedi Zephyrs. Also the same five who started the game. On the other side for Columbia Heights is Rolford. I believe it's the same five starters as well. Rolford, Davis, Mork. I'll get the other two for you here as we go. Oh, it's not the same five for the Highlanders. Oh, it is, excuse me, I didn't see McClendon out there, but it is. So it's Rolford, Davis, McClendon, Mork, and Hicks on the floor for Columbia Heights to start the second half. Driving in and putting up the jumper there for the Zephyrs was Underwood. He couldn't get it to go, but Harvey goes up, grabs the rebound, and is fouled on the attempt, so he'll head to the line. Harvey sinks the first one. Mahtomedi 6 of 12 now from the free throw stripe. And the second one goes as well. Those are Harvey's second and third points on the night for Mahtomedi as Carlson gets a steal, works it right back to Armitage, and Armitage lays it in off the glass. So a very quick 4 points for the Zephyrs. They start off this half with a 4-0 run and have the 52-36 lead. Hicks gets the free throw to go there for Columbia Heights. As he now has 4 points on the night. Interestingly enough, the Highlanders doing far better percentage-wise, at least from the free throw stripe for the game, as they are 6 of 7. Never mind, on the other end, it's Will Underwood who goes up and gets the two-handed jam. Second dunk of the night that we have seen on a fast break for Mahtomedi, as Carlson had the first and Will Underwood gets the second. And Mahtomedi continues just dominating in points. Underwood now up to 17 points on the night. Carlson and Underwood are just providing the 1-2 punch for Mahtomedi right now, as Carlson has 18 points and Underwood has 17. But answering right back for Columbia Heights was Lavelle Hicks. And Carlson answers again for Mahtomedi. Harvey wanted to work it inside to the cutting Carlson there, but Carlson was not on the same page. But nonetheless, it hits off the foot of Columbia Heights. So the Zephyrs will retain possession as McCleary looks to inbound. McCleary got it into Harvey there. And he draws the foul, and the bucket will count as well, so he'll head to the line for Mahtomedi. 5 points now for Harvey on the night, and he'll look for the three-point play. That one rims out though. So the lead will stay at 19 for Mahtomedi. Looking back down the other way of the floor is a little bit difficult as the Mahtomedi student section is right in front of things here. But we will do our best nonetheless. Jency Davis will look to inbound for the Highlanders now as they work it around the left perimeter. Davis will take it back up top, defended there by Carlson. Davis will now drive in. He'll kick it outside. Three-pointer, no good. Rebound, Mahtomedi. Underwood brings it up the floor, kicks it out to Armitage, who tries the three, can't get it to go. Rebounded there by Hicks. Davis drives the lane, goes up, can't get it to go, but he's fouled on the drive, so he'll head to the line for two. Foul there on Tommy Metzel for the Zephyrs. That is the team's third foul of the half, his second personal foul. As the first free throw for Hicks did in fact go, so he's up to 7 points. And the Highlanders are 7 of 8 from the line. Or not Hicks there, that was incorrect. It's Davis at the line, excuse me. And he actually missed both of them, I believe, because he stays at 15 points, but it's Mahtomedi who works it back down the floor quickly, and Metzel gets the layup to go. Metzel now with 4 points on the night for Mahtomedi. Davis gets it out to McClendon, who thought about the three but thought better of it. McClendon, I'm not sure what the call was there. And the foul was called on Underwood. That's his third, so getting into a little bit of foul trouble there. And Mahtomedi with 4 on the half thus far. Davis now works it around the top for the Highlanders. Three-point attempt there is no good. Rebound, Mahtomedi. Keith Newman shouting in plays to his team as McCleary gets ready to inbound. And it'll be Carlson who leads the Zephyrs down the floor. Carlson now spins, looks for Armitage, tried to get it inside, but that was a little bit too ambitious as it's intercepted there by Hicks. Hicks back down the floor, goes up for the left-handed attempt, no good. Rebounded by Mork, and Mork is fouled, so he'll head to the line for two. That one bounces out. As checking back in for Mahtomedi is number 14, James Ecker. Mork second now. And that one's no good. It's over 2 from the line. And on the night now for Columbia Heights, they are 7 of 10. So Mahtomedi hangs on to a 20-point lead. And it'll be Carlson who will do the inbounding for Mahtomedi. Columbia Heights going to use the full court press as they need quite a bit of a turn to go their way in order to crawl back into this one. Carlson works it down the floor really quickly. To the inside, it's Tommy Metzel who goes up and gets a pair. Back down to the other side, it's McClendon who tries to work it inside, turn around, no good. Blocked there by Mahtomedi. Coming back down the floor now is Ecker for the Zephyrs. He'll dish it off to McCleary. And a timeout is called by Coach Keith Newman. So we'll take a bit of a breather and reset now, as Columbia Heights has a tall task to try and climb back into this one. At the half, it was 48-36 Mahtomedi, and there's only been 5 points scored thus far for Columbia Heights, and 15 for Mahtomedi. So 15-5 thus far in the second half. As Mahtomedi comfortably sitting in front, but the way that this game has played out, anybody could go on a run at any time. What's interesting, though, about the situation thus far, the 41 points for Columbia Heights, is last year the Highlanders averaged 84 points per game throughout the throughout the entire season, actually, regular season and sections. So they are clearly missing their graduating seniors from last year thus far, as they haven't quite been able to find the scoring from anybody except for Jency Davis. Inbound now for Mahtomedi is tossed in by McCleary, and McCleary will swing back around and grab it again from Metzel. Metzel works it out to Carlson. Carlson gets it back inside to Metzel. He's defended there by McClendon. Metzel kicks it back out to Ecker. Ecker will slow things down. Carlson crosses over, drives in the lane, goes up and spins it to nobody. Mark grabs the rebound, and it's the Highlanders working back down the floor. Davis now kicks it out to McClendon. McClendon will drive the lane, go up, and that is ruled out of bounds. Last touch by Mahtomedi. So Columbia Heights will retain possession. Didn't quite, I believe, oh, it was a foul that was called. I thought it was jump ball initially, and I think the Zephyrs were petitioning for it to be called a jump ball, but instead there was a foul on the floor that was called. So Columbia Heights gets possession right back as McClendon, now they work it around the top. Davis takes it, gets it back inside to Mork. He's triple teamed there by the Zephyrs, and it results in the ball rolling out of bounds, last touched by one of the Mahtomedi defenders. That was Tom Hawley who touched it last. So the Highlanders get the ball right back. McClendon now works it around. Davis will put up the three. No good. Rebounded there by Underwood. Underwood brings it down the floor. Armitage kicks it inside, comes right back out to Armitage. Thought about swinging it around. Underwood now has it, waits for things to develop a bit. Underwood defended well by Laval Hicks. Armitage, or not Armitage, excuse me, that's McCleary who drove the baseline and puts it in off the glass for 2. That's the first 2 points of the night for McCleary. The jumper didn't go for Columbia Heights, as they still only have 5 total points this entire half. Layup there was no good. Foul is called on the inside on James Ecker. That's his second foul, team 7th of the half. Shooting 1 and 1 at the line for the Highlanders will be Imaron Rolford. Rolford gets the first one to go. And everybody seems to have forgotten that it was a 1 and 1. So he will attempt a second. And the second one rims out. So on the night now, the Columbia Heights Highlanders are 8 of 12 from the free throw line. Rolford with just 3 points on the night. 3-point attempt here, just barely rims out for Tom Holly. Hicks and McClendon now working it around the top of the key for the Highlanders. Hicks kicks it out to Rolford. McClendon gets it back. McClendon's long-range 3 doesn't go. Rebound there by Carlson. Good defense there by the Highlanders, but Carlson steals it right back with a fast break down the floor. Whistle is blown. And we get a foul on the play. Foul was on Mork for the Highlanders. Checking back in is Jency Davis. As Mahtomedi will be on the attack, but it's stolen away there. Hicks now working on Brian as McClendon goes in and is fouled on the play, so he'll head to the line for 2. McCleary picks up his 3rd foul, team's 8th. As McClendon gets the first one to go. McClendon now with 9 points on the night. And the second one goes as well. 10 of 14 at the line now are the Highlanders, as Carlson are working it back down the floor. Carlson gets it inside as we get an alley-oop layup. And Brian gets it to go. Brian picks up his first 2 points of the contest as Carlson drove the floor and dished him a layup. an alley-oop layup at that. And he got it to go for his first 2 points of the contest. Timeout is taken by the Highlanders as Mahtomedi hangs on to a 67-44 lead. So coming out of the timeout, Columbia Heights will have possession, but they certainly have a tall task ahead of them and need to get scoring and get scoring quickly. As with 9:03 remaining here in the second half, Mahtomedi is hanging on to a 67-44 lead. And it's McClendon who's at the line for the Highlanders for a pair of free throws as he gets the first one to go. And the second one drops as well. Pretty sure McClendon is perfect from the stripe thus far. But the Highlanders themselves are 12 of 16 on the evening. And McClendon has 12 points. Carlson now takes possession of the ball. Gets it back to McCleary. McCleary back to Carlson. Carlson gets it inside to Underwood, and he goes up for the layup. Underwood continues to build his points total now as he is up to 19 on the night for the Zephyrs. The 1-2 punch of Carlson Underwood just keeps at it for Mahtomedi. As Carlson has 21 points for Mahtomedi, and going back the other way on the floor is Andrew Brian for the Zephyrs. McClendon tried to drive the lane and was fouled on the play, so he'll head to the line as Columbia Heights is in the bonus. There's 10 fouls now on the Zephyrs, so no matter what the foul is, it will put the Highlanders on the line. As McClendon gets the first to go. And we get a couple of substitutions coming in now for Mahtomedi as Max Holly and Cole Armitage check back in. So McClendon will attempt his second and also gets that one to go. So give the Highlanders credit. They have kept fighting through this despite the fact there has been a lot of fast break points for Mahtomedi that has pushed it to a very sizable lead. There hasn't been any quitting, and they've kept fighting, kept driving the lane, and trying to make this interesting. We still have 7:30 to go here, so a lot of basketball left to be played. But back the other way, it's Carlson who looks to stay hot, and of course he does. Owen Carlson from long range adds to his point total. He is up to 24 on the night now for Mahtomedi. Three-point attempt back the other way doesn't go for Columbia Heights. McCleary now drives in. He tries to go up, but was stuffed there. Nice save by Carlson. But instead, going back the other way for Columbia Heights was Rolford, and he gets denied. The ball was knocked out of bounds, last touched by Mahtomedi on that rejection. And McClendon attempted the three. So coming back the other way is Carlson. He tries to put up the layup. It's no good. It hit off the poles at the top of the basket, so that's ruled out of bounds and will be Columbia Heights basketball. Couple more substitutions as we get reserves coming in for Mahtomedi. Owen Carlson checks out, and coming in for the first time will be Gavin Beek. Gavin Beek rocking the headband with the long flow. Gotta love it. He will defend Jency Davis as McClendon looks to put up an awkward three and couldn't get it to go. 2-on-1 back the other way for Mahtomedi as Underwood goes up and lays it in for another 2 points. Mahtomedi thus far, by the way, are smashing their average from last year. As in the 2021-2022 season, the Mahtomedi Zephyrs averaged 68 points per game. We still have 6 minutes remaining in this one, and they are already at 76 with reserves checking into the game. Timeout taken here on the floor as we get a chance to catch our breath. Mahtomedi hanging on to a very comfortable 76-48 lead. I gotta say, it's a little bit surprising as the Start the Buzzes chant comes out very early here from the Mahtomedi fans, just being relentless on the Columbia Heights squad. And I honestly think I can say that this game has been a lot closer than the scoreboard indicates. There's been a lot of fast break points that have gone the way of Mahtomedi, and a lot of kick out three-pointers. But for a long time there, they weren't getting the three-pointers to go. Very early in this one, it was 12-2 Mahtomedi. But then I remember at one point in time, we had a 30-30 game with about 3 minutes remaining to go in the first half. But then the Zephyrs went on a bit of a run to end the first half with a 48-36 lead, and then they've just kind of never looked back from there. There's only been 12 points scored total for Columbia Heights in the second half, whereas Mahtomedi has 28, almost to 30 points here scored in the second half. So we will get an inbound here for Mahtomedi, and they will be on the attack, working down the floor as Underwood remains in the game. Harvey now works it back to Underwood. Underwood drives in, puts up the jumper, and he gets it to go. Underwood now with 23 points for the Zephyrs. The 1-2 punch for Mahtomedi of Carlson Underwood just keeps stacking them, as we have 23 points for Will Underwood and 24 points for Owen Carlson. If Mahtomedi can stay healthy throughout the entire season, they're going to be a team to be reckoned with in Class 3A, that's for sure. Because last year, it was basically just Owen Carlson who led all scoring for Mahtomedi. As he had 23 points per game. And then the next closest after that was Cole Armitage at 13.5 points per game. A drop-off of over 100 points total in the season, almost 150 points difference between the two. Underwood was out the entire season last year with injuries, so getting him back, it obviously has been a huge bonus for the Zephyrs as they missed him dearly, and he is just making it look easy out there as he goes up for the left-handed lay-in, picks up another 2 points, and is up to 25 on the night for Mahtomedi. I mean, I can only imagine how things would have gone for Mahtomedi last year if they had had Underwood and Carlson the entire time. I mean, they still made it to the section semifinals. They still had an 18-8 record. But now that they've got these, now that they're back to full strength and are completely healthy, this absolutely stacked lineup that goes 9 seniors deep down the bench should be able to carry the Zephyrs a long ways, and they might be able to contend for the Metro East Conference Championship. And the way I mean, this is a big matchup here. These two teams are definitely expected to contend for the section title at the end of the year. That and Totino Grace will certainly be up there as well, as the Eagles open the year as the preseason #1 in the state in Class 3A. But this will certainly be a huge win that will help the Zephyrs at the end of the year. McCleary now drives in and dished it out to James Ecker. Ecker couldn't get the three-pointer to go, but a couple of offensive rebounds, the last of which is put up by Javon Harvey, and he gets it to go. Turnover now back the other way, and that one is sailed out of bounds as things couldn't quite connect. The Highlanders now kind of struggling with having a short lineup, as you're seeing a lot of players that have hands on their knees and they're huffing and puffing up and down the floor. And the conditioning certainly isn't going to be there in the very first game of the year. There's a ton of basketball left to be played as things go all the way until March of 2023. So, but Mahtomedi, they look ready to go. Absolutely, as they have 82 points with 4 minutes left to be played still. And I know the Zephyrs do a ton of work in the off season, playing for those summer and fall league elite league teams. So they certainly were ready coming into this one. And they look like they're in mid-season form as they're taking it to a team that was ranked in the top 10. McClendon now finishes off the free throws. We'll get a couple of substitutions coming in here. All starters have now substituted out for Mahtomedi on their end of the floor. As for the first time in the game, we have Micah Schmidt in for the Zephyrs. Gavin Beek had the attempt there, but he couldn't quite get it to go. Max Holly's on the floor. Nothing but bench players for Mahtomedi as they hang on to a very comfortable 28-point lead now. Wide open on the inside is Max Holly as he was left all alone, and he'll use the left-handed layup to push the lead back to 30 for the Zephyrs. Three-pointer by Jaden Udine answered back on the other end for Columbia Heights. Udine now has 9 points on the game for Columbia Heights. A very awkward looking three-pointer put up there again by Udine. He must have certainly been feeling it, but that didn't look like a comfortable shot by any means. Rebound Mahtomedi, and a great spin move inside there by Micah Schmidt, and he gets his first 2 points of the game for Mahtomedi. Mahtomedi now has gone so far deep down their bench that they have juniors and seniors that are still currently playing. All the starters have checked out. We are all the way down, I believe, to the 12th and 13th players on the list, the listed roster that have gotten into the game. So Mahtomedi is certainly very, very deep this year, as all the starters are sitting on the bench together. And they still are rolling out juniors and seniors, and they're still putting points up on the board. Foul there on Mahtomedi. That'll be Beek's first foul, but the 10th foul of the half for the Zephyrs, as we get 3 more substitutions coming in. As Sam Thine checks in, Jack Erickson checks in. And they didn't quite catch the last number, neither did the PA announcer. But nonetheless, free throws go for Columbia Heights. And Mahtomedi will work it back down the floor as a beautiful pass inside to Sam Thine, and he picks up his first points of the contest. Three-pointer is no good there. Mahtomedi offensive board, and things will just about begin to wrap up here as we wind down the second half in this one. So to recap, it was the 1-2 punch for Mahtomedi as Owen Carlson finished the night with 24 points, and Will Underwood finished the night with 25 points for Mahtomedi. And then other than that, Metzel had 6 points, Harvey had 5 points, Armitage finished with 7. Essentially everybody's getting on the board for Mahtomedi, as there were 2 players that certainly led the way, but then everybody was getting splashes of points here and there to just rack things up as we hit a 90 spot for Mahtomedi. It's not often you see 90 points scored in a high school basketball game. So Mahtomedi certainly looking really good to start the year. Looking ahead for the Zephyrs moving forward after today, they have a really difficult schedule moving forward, as they'll face off in their first Metro East game against St. Thomas Academy on Thursday. Then they have St. Cloud Tech, Robbinsdale Cooper, St. Anthony, Minnetonka, Princeton, Holy Angels. They've got Stewartville in there. That's another top 10 team in Class 3A. They also play De La Salle, another Tri-Metro team, as mentioned, who finished second in the conference. So De La Salle certainly will be a difficult contest. It's possible that the Islanders will be the favorite in the conference, what with the graduation that Columbia Heights had, and De La Salle's got a lot returning. De La Salle was also picked as the preseason number 2 going into the year. So that'll be a difficult contest for Mahtomedi. I stand corrected. I apologize. This entire time I was looking at Columbia Heights' schedule. So that was the schedule for Columbia Heights, who has a difficult way of things going along. But nonetheless, Mahtomedi certainly has a difficult schedule as well, as they have the majority of the teams that I mentioned anyways. Of course, they'll play St. Thomas Academy in a Metro East Conference tilt. They have Stewartville on their schedule. They also have Minnetonka. They also have Minnehaha Academy, who has been a powerhouse in Class 3A. They also have Stillwater, a Class 4A opponent, and Farmington as well. So Certainly will be no easy task for the Zephyrs going forward as the final buzzer sounds, and this one concludes as Mahtomedi makes a huge statement and absolutely track meets Columbia Heights for a 90-62 victory to kick off the 2022-2023 campaign. A great opening win for Mahtomedi, and the rest of Class 3A, look out. The rest of Class 3A, look out, because Mahtomedi is certainly going to be a force to be reckoned with going forward. On the night, Owen Carlson finishes with 24 points for Mahtomedi, and Will Underwood with 25 points for the Zephyrs to lead the way, as they certainly show the critics that they deserve to belong. They deserve that number 4 ranking in Class 3A, as Columbia Heights only had the 1 loss all of last year, but get their first right out the gate to open the season. On behalf of SCC, I'm David Schuyler. We thank you for joining us tonight on SCC Sports. On camera, we have Seth Zabel, Miranda Zabel, and Clayton Johnson. And in the truck, Arlen Becker filling in, directing for me, and Ian Felix on the audio. Once again, Mahtomedi with the big victory over the Columbia Heights Highlanders. We'll see you on the hockey arena or basketball court very soon.